we are live. Okay, everyone. So this is Matt again. I'm just gonna do a short video this time. Um, just wanted to showcase a few things physically. So I had a couple people DM me asking me about my playmat, like what I use to play. I use this playmat right here, and I like it a lot. It's hard to go on Google and search Dark Magician Girl playmat, or even just Dark Magician playmat on Google without finding just like a bunch of like hentai art of the Dark Magician Girl. But this is a nice one because it's more subtle. It's not one of those super you know waifu uh, playmats where she's just naked or whatever. I just felt like this was like a nice mat that I found. It's a cool little color scheme. I like some of the art, the surrounding art, and of course we have the Dark Magician Girl. The only thing I would say would have made this playmat more badass is if this Dark Magician Girl right here would replace with Dark Magician. But um, it is what it is. If you're interested in picking up something like this, I'll have a link down in the description. But yeah, this is the mat I use, and even when I don't play my Dark Magician deck, I just really like this mat a lot. Anyway, so without further ado, I want to talk about a few specific cards. So this specifically, some recent, I mentioned briefly in my first video with my deck profile about artworks, right? So here I have, the main man himself, Dark Magician, and I mentioned how, when you run a Dark Magician deck, the correct two artworks to run are the Yugi's Purple Dark Magician and the Arcana's Red Dark Magician. Now, I really like this one, and I really hope that this one gets reprinted in either like a higher rarity, like Prismatic Secret Rare, or maybe just like even an updated Ultra Rare. So I don't know how many of you know this, but um, before the end of 2017, or maybe it was 2018, I forget. Yeah, around that time, Ultra Rares used to be defined as cards that have holographic artwork, a uh, gold lettering in the title, and that's it, right? That's pretty much how ultra rares were defined. Um, However, if you've ever opened some of the newer packs, so any packs or sets that were released in 2018 or onward, you'll notice that ultra rares are a lot shinier. And you know, just as a quick example, and I'll have a second example here soon too. Uh, like for example, Link Karibo. As you'll notice, this is definitely shinier looking than normal ultra rares, but this or like the older ultra rares. This is obviously been printed much sooner, but as you can notice, one main difference is that the attribute is also holographic, whereas you don't see the attribute holographic here, right? And for monsters that have levels, their levels would also be holographic. So for example, here is the Lost Artwork Dark Magician Girl, and this is the Dark Magician Girl artwork that you should be running. It's just the best one in the TCG, unfortunately. It's the only one where it's not censored at all. She has her pentagram on her, emblem or whatever. She has all her assets, etc. But also, this is the only printing of Dark Magician Girl where it's a newer rarity, ultra rarity, where yes, you do have the holographic artwork, but note you also have the holographic, the gold lettering, holographic levels, and the attribute. See that? Um, as I tilt it towards the light, you can definitely see that. Um, yeah, that's another reason why this one is just like the nicest artwork of all of them. Yeah, this is somewhat of an expensive card, although if I recall, it's around like $30, $40. Maybe it's gotten cheaper since then, but like it's a one of, um, but yeah, if you like waifus, if you like Dark Magician Girl, this is the one you should be running in your Dark Magician deck. It's just awesome, right? So, all right. So the next thing I want to talk about was in terms of uh, the artwork for the Yugi one. So this is not the starter deck Yugi. So starter deck Yugi, and this is another change that they made between like new cards and old cards. So in the old days, the text box up here for the name used to be a lot like taller, and in general, everything was more blocky looking, right? Like the text box was taller, like there was more like empty spaces on the edges of the card. And the reason for that is because like monsters just didn't have as much like text to put in the box because like we didn't have all these like paragraphs and paragraphs of effects. So yeah, if you do get the structure deck Yugi one, which I do own, except I owned it back when I first played Yu-Gi-Oh in like 2002 or whatever, and it's at my parents' house on the other side of the country. So I do have a binder there with all my old cards from Goat Meta and before, but right now I'm up until now I've been running the CT13 um, Dark Magician as the Yu-Gi-Oh version. However, I recently acquired an even nicer rarity of this version. But before I get into that, I also wanted to shout out to the Premium Gold Rare Dark Magician. So this one I briefly mentioned in my first video as well. Premium Gold is alright. For me, it's very hit or miss. It's good on some cards, not so good on others. Like I think this rarity looks best on Xyz monsters because you have like the black frame, right? And so like the gold like goes nicely with that. For cards, it really just depends. I think on spell cards, Premium Gold looks really janky. On monsters, it can look good because especially in this case, like the card frame here is like yellowish, and then you have like the yellow outlines, and then for this card, like specifically, the dark magical circle in the background is obviously like gold, and like you have so yeah, so you see where like they put the gold, like they put the gold in the outline of the monster, and they put the gold shine on the dark magical circle. So this is an okay rarity. Another thing I find that is weird, and maybe this is just me, and maybe you've had a different experience, is I feel like when I've run like premium golds in some of my decks, like I have premium gold red eyes, I have this one, right? I always felt like, and maybe this is just me, or maybe like that these cards come up in my hand, I draw them more likely than not. And like for cards like Dark Magician Red Eyes, like you don't want to draw them, right? You'd rather them be in your deck. Um, so even though this is an okay like rarity, like I wouldn't run it just because I want it to stay in my deck. That's a superstition. I don't think there's anything related, but they are thicker. So maybe something happens during the shuffle. I don't know. Somehow I've noticed that premium golds tend to come up a lot. And maybe that's like good if like you're side decking like premium gold Harpy Stardust, or like you want that to come up and you draw it. But anyway, yeah. So this rarity is all right. Um, it's fine. I kind of just got it for like you know, because I wanted to see what it would look like in person, but also like for the collector's value. You know, also notice because this is came out in the last year or so, attribute and levels are also shiny, right? Yeah, I think the attribute and levels, like when they recently changed that to make it shinier, like it significantly improved like all rarities. Super rares also have the shiny has well, super rares like have shiny level attribute, but not the gold lettering. Anyway, so that's that. And but what I wanted to showcase is this bad boy that I recently got in the mail today. Ghost Rare Dark Magician. Yes, for some of you who have seen me talking either the Discord or the Facebook group or the whatever chat, I have mentioned that I was super tempted recently to um, get a Ghost or a Dark Magician. And boy, I found a good deal on eBay. Like I would recommend for high value cards like this, just bid on eBay. Like bid and submit offers. You'll get a much better pricing than if you do, like standard TCG player. Like I think on TCG player this is like 700 to 750 $750 card, near mint, and I got this for uh 475 on eBay, right? Near mint. This is a near mint first edition. And, like people say, oh, some of the Ghost Rares have the factory defects. This one does not, actually. So this is double sleeve, don't worry. But yeah, as you can see, like this card is pretty pristine. Like there's no like weird dots on the back. There's no like ink splotches. This is just like, super, high quality near mint. And for 475, like I really felt like it was a steal. But yeah, now that I have this, this will be my main you know, Yugi artwork Dark Magician rarity that I run. So note that these are not sleeved because I took this one. This was the one I used to run. I took this out of my deck, and this is the one I'm running now. Obviously with the, Arcana Dark Magician. So these are the two Dark Magician artworks that I'm running. But yeah, for those of you who aren't familiar with Ghost Rare, like, look at this. So obviously you have the holographic levels and attribute, just like the new Ultra Rares, right? The text is more similar to like Secret Rare, where it's like whitish, and then as you tilt it to the light, you see like a rainbow pattern. And then the artwork itself is just beautiful. Like, look at that. So in this angle, it looks like all white, right? And then as you move it, you start to see the art really pop out like this, right? And at a certain angle, the art actually looks 3D. I don't know if the camera can capture this, but like, let me see if I can get a good angle. So all right. So this angle you can kind of see it. So note how like the dark magical circle in the background looks like distant, right? It doesn't look like it's on the same plane or the dimension as like the dark magician. Yeah, he looks like he's, clearly in front of him. Like there's depth there, right? Whereas you don't really see that in like this artwork, for example. It looks like the circle and dark magician are on the same plane, but here, like at a certain angle, like artwork actually looks 3D. And at other angles, it just looks like a blank card, which is pretty sick. Um, so yeah, if you're an avid Dark Magician player and you like, or you just a weeb anime fanboy, want to have a Yugi type deck, yeah, this is the one you want to run. Like, get this. Like, I know it's a lot of money, but maybe you get a bonus one day, maybe whatever. Like, if you're not strapped for cash, this is absolutely worth it. It's like one of the best large money card purchases I ever made. And if you get sick of Dark Magician, and I mean you play another deck that runs the Dragoon package, like this is your one of Dark Magician. Like you can pretty much like always get away with this. So this is just beautiful card. Like I was blown away. Like the pictures online don't do it justice, and this video probably won't do it justice either. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to showcase that, and then the last thing that I recently did, which is an addition, a change to my deck profile is, remember I mentioned I was running Topological Bomber Dragon as my link for it because I didn't want to buy access code. So as you can see, this is no longer sleeve because I did replace this in my extra deck now with another card that I recently picked up. And no, it's not access code talker. It is actually this bad boy, Black Luster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos in Ghost Rare. Yeah, yeah, this is also like a really solid boss monster. Obviously, access code is still quote unquote optimal, right? In terms of like its ability to like clear boards and possibly OTK. Um, but as you may have heard in my first video, I actually think that access code is going to be reprinted in in the Max Gold Eldorado set later this month. So yeah, so like the current $150 access code price is like it's not worth paying for because like you're gonna get access code in Premium Gold soon anyway, and I think that's gonna significantly drop price. But also, and yes, I know that Black Luster Soldier Ghost Rare is actually a more expensive card than access code, but it's like for those of you who appreciate Yu-Gi-Oh and like the history of Yu-Gi-Oh, the card game, but also the anime, like it's like this is Black Luster Soldier, right? Like who the fuck is Access Code Talker? Some random like boss monster that Konami decided to come up with. But this is the Black Luster Soldier, right? Like the third or fourth iteration of the monster. Obviously the most powerful, but yeah, look at that sick artwork, right? So similar to the Dark Magician, like at certain angles. Oh, and I just realized the link arrows are also holographic. That's another thing that, yeah, see that they did here with um, the newer hollows. But yeah, and then as you change the art, like move it around, you get the angle where it looks like no artwork, and then I think you also get an angle where it looks 3D. It's like it's harder to see the 3D aspect because you don't have a point of reference like in the Dark Magician, like the magical circle, like there's a point of reference, but if you look hard enough you can kind of you can see it look like a little 3D as well, like the card is like popping out at you. But yeah, this is definitely a solid purchase. So yeah, definitely replace, if you don't have access code and you don't want to run Bomber, this is a good card to run. It's a link 3, not a link 4, but the card, if you look at the summon actually requires 3 monsters of different names. And in fact, I would say that This works very well in the Dark Magician deck because its effect says that if this is link summoned using a level 7 or higher monster, then it becomes like cannot be targeted and cannot be destroyed by card effects. So it gains the same level of protection that Dragoon has. Um, but yeah, this can also technically out an enemy Dragoon, right? Like it's a 3,000 beater, so if their Dragoon is not over 3,000, you can attack into it, or you can use any of its three effects, right? For after it destroys a monster, this monster gains 1,500 attack, so it can become 4,500, right? The second effect is when this card attacks. Oh, sorry. You can actually make it so that this monster can make a second attack on the next battle phase. Not as good as the effect, but the third effect, which is the most interesting, is this has a non-targeted banish. One card on the field of your choice. So yeah, pretty good boss monster. Like especially you follow up your second turn, you have like Magician's Rod, Anaconda, Dark Magician, or Dark Magician Girl, Rod. Link this right into this. And then like yeah, this is a nice card. Anyway, so these are the additions. And really, if you think about it, like if you're really a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh, especially in the anime, here you have like some four of Yu-Gi's like core monsters. Granted, they're like different iterations. Like instead of regular Kuribo, you have Link Kuribo. Instead of like the Ritual Black Luster Soldier, you have the Link one, and uh, this goes for a Dark Magician. It's just like amazing. Yeah, definitely does the card justice. Obviously, this is not the Yu-Gi artwork of Dark Magician Girl. He uses the OG one from Magician's Force or whatever the set was called. But this is well, technically, I think you in like the one of the movies use a different artwork of Dark Magician Girl, but yeah, but this is still like the nicer one, I think. Anyway, yeah, just wanted to share that with y'all because I got super excited when these came in. Like, yeah, they're big purchases, it's a lot of money, but it was just worth it. And for people who like appreciate this kind of stuff, like hopefully you'll appreciate this video. All right, take care now.